Dragons have long captured the human imagination as creatures of immense power and terror, and among their ranks, evil dragons stand as some of the most fearsome antagonists in myth and fantasy. These malevolent beings embody corruption, destruction, and avarice in their purest forms, wielding devastating magical and physical abilities that can lay waste to entire civilizations. Unlike their metallic counterparts, who often serve as guardians and allies to mortals, evil dragons represent an existential threat to all who cross their paths, driven by insatiable greed, territorial dominance, and an inherent desire to subjugate or destroy lesser beings. Their very existence serves as a testament to the primordial forces of chaos and destruction that lurk in the darkest corners of the world. Evil dragons are characterized by their chromatic scales, which range across a spectrum of colors, including red, white, blue, black and green, each variety possessing distinct abilities and temperaments united by their fundamentally wicked nature. These creatures are typically solitary, claiming vast territories that they defend with murderous zeal against any who would dare intrude upon their domains. Their lairs become festering wounds upon the landscape, corrupting the surrounding environment through their mere presence and transforming once verdant lands into twisted reflections of their own malevolence. Evil dragons possess keen intellects that rival or surpass those of the most brilliant mortal minds, yet they apply this intelligence not to creation or enlightenment, but to schemes of domination, manipulation, and destruction. Their legendary hoards of treasure represent not merely wealth but trophies of conquest, each coin and gem a reminder of those they have defeated, kingdoms they have toppled, or innocents they have terrorized. Red dragons reign supreme among evil dragonkind as the most powerful and arrogant of their chromatic brethren, viewing themselves as the apex of draconic perfection and treating all other creatures as beneath their contempt. These massive serpents possess scales that gleam like molten metal or freshly spilled blood, and they make their lairs in volcanic mountains and other geothermically active regions where the heat matches their own fiery temperament. Red dragons breathe cones of scorching flame capable of reducing stone to slag and transforming entire armies into ash in moments, and they delight in using this power to demonstrate their superiority over lesser beings. Their pride is absolute, and their rage is terrible to behold, as even the slightest perceived insult can trigger a rampage that leaves entire regions devastated. Red dragons accumulate the largest and most impressive hoards, not out of mere greed, but as physical manifestations of their belief in their own supremacy, and they will stop at nothing to increase their wealth and influence. White dragons are the most feral and bestial of the evil dragons, driven primarily by base hunger and territorial instinct, rather than the complex schemes favored by their more intelligent cousins. These creatures make their homes in the frozen wastes of the world, amid glaciers and snow-covered peaks, where their ice blue or snow-white scales provide perfect camouflage against the endless winter landscape. White dragons exhale blasts of freezing cold that can turn living creatures into frozen statues in an instant, preserving their prey in ice to be consumed at leisure. Though they possess the lowest intellect among true dragons, white dragons are far from mindless, displaying cunning ambush tactics and a cruel enjoyment of hunting sentient prey across the tundra. Their hoards often contain the frozen bodies of their victims, alongside more traditional treasures, creating macabre galleries within their icy lairs that serve as testaments to their predatory nature. Blue dragons are master manipulators and schemers who prefer to achieve their goals through deception, political machination, and carefully orchestrated displays of power rather than through brute force alone. These dragons possess scales that shimmer with azure brilliance, and they claim the deserts and arid badlands as their domains, where they rule over networks of servants and thralls with iron-clawed efficiency. Blue dragons wield lightning as their breath weapon, calling down devastating electrical storms that can fry opponents where they stand or reduce fortifications to rubble. They are particularly vain creatures who take great pride in their appearance and their reputations, carefully cultivating fear and respect among the lesser races, while using intermediaries to extend their influence far beyond their immediate territories. Blue dragons often establish themselves as the secret powers behind mortal kingdoms and criminal organizations, pulling strings from their desert lairs while accumulating wealth and political capital in equal measure. Black dragons are perhaps the most sadistic and cruel of all evil dragons, taking genuine pleasure in causing suffering and watching their victims struggle in hopeless situations before delivering the killing blow. These serpents dwell in fetid swamps, poisonous marshlands, and other corrupted wetlands, their midnight black scales allowing them to slip unseen through murky waters and rotting vegetation. Black dragons breathe streams of corrosive acid, capable of dissolving flesh from bone and eating through the strongest armor, and they delight in using this weapon to inflict maximum agony upon their prey. They are patient hunters who prefer to toy with their victims, using the terrain of their swampland domains to ambush, separate, and terrorize groups of adventurers or travelers before moving in for the kill. Black dragons are also notorious for their vindictive nature, harboring grudges for decades or even centuries and going to extraordinary lengths to exact revenge upon those who have wronged them, no matter how insignificant the original offense. Green dragons represent the pinnacle of draconic treachery and deceit, combining formidable physical power with masterful skills in manipulation, lying, and psychological warfare. These emerald-scaled predators make their lairs in ancient forests, where they can move unseen among the trees, their coloration providing perfect camouflage in the verdant canopy. Green dragons exhale clouds of poisonous gas that choke and corrode all who breathe it, turning the very air into a weapon that kills slowly and painfully. They are consummate liars who enjoy nothing more than corrupting the innocent, turning friends against one another, and orchestrating elaborate schemes that bring about the downfall of kingdoms and heroes alike. Green dragons particularly delight in collecting not just material treasures, but secrets, favors, and leverage over powerful individuals, building networks of blackmail and obligation that extend their power far beyond what their physical might alone could achieve. They view conversation and negotiation not as alternatives to violence, but as additional weapons in their arsenal, means by which they can identify weaknesses to exploit and plant seeds of doubt and betrayal. The relationships between different species of evil dragons are characterized by mutual contempt, rivalry, and an uneasy awareness that they share more similarities than differences, despite their territorial and temperamental distinctions. Red dragons view all other chromatic dragons as inferior specimens unworthy of respect, though they reserve particular disdain for white dragons, whom they consider little better than bestial animals, while simultaneously regarding blue dragons as pretentious upstarts whose cunning cannot compensate for their lack of raw power.